Hello, everybody. Dr. Dan Yachter. This is the News, Views, and Weekly Updates segment every Wednesday about noontime. And we're going to go ahead and dive in. We're going to go ahead and wrap up our diabetes information. I'm going to go through the markers when you go to draw a panel. And that's one of the things we do regularly for our patients in-house or at a local phlebotomy center, draw center. But we do have our own phlebotomist. We do draws at the office as well. And when it comes to blood sugar, there are certain markers. There is a certain type of panel that you want to look at to understand your blood sugar status, whether you are just concerned about regulating and not becoming a diabetic, or if you are a diabetic, what are the markers you should be looking at? How should you be tracking your blood work? Especially, again, if you don't want to become a diabetic, which are the markers you want to be looking at? What are the primary? What are the secondary markers? We're going to talk about that. And I'm going to share with you some kind of a little sneak peek into what we'll be discussing at the Detoxify or Die Masterclass coming up on Tuesday. So let's go ahead and jump in and wrap up the diabetes information, the masterclass that we did, that Dr. Leif and his wife, Dr. Annette Martinson, did a few weeks back. We're going to wrap up that information. I've been reviewing it, going back and kind of pulling out the most important information highlights. And then beginning next week, we're going to actually finish the year talking about toxicity and all the important topics you want to know regarding toxicity, how it impacts your body, how it impacts your body's ability to express health and energy and well-being, physical and mental well-being. So let's go ahead and just discuss, let's talk it down here in terms of what is essential. When a patient asks me about a blood panel or what they want to look into in regards to general health and well-being, and certainly blood sugar, to get an accurate picture, insight as to what's going on in the body, the basics, CMP, Comprehensive Metabolic Panel. That is your general physical blood work that you do on a yearly basis. If you want to really just have a place to start, if you haven't done blood work in a while, if you just want to kind of get a general understanding, a basic understanding of where you're at, then get a comprehensive metabolic panel. What does that include? It includes a look at your liver health, your kidney health, your mineral status, your blood cholesterol status. So you want to really be able to look at these things, kind of get a general sense of where you're at. So that's a good place to start. Comprehensive metabolic panel, your general physical panel. And then, of course, you want to include your CBC, your complete blood count with differential. And again, what you're looking at there, your white blood cell status, your red blood cell status, your platelet status, and you want to know the percentage of each one of these, especially white blood cells, and you want to look at the count, the number. Other very critical markers that you want to be looking at, along with those two things that I just mentioned, CMP, Comprehensive Metabolic Panel, and the complete blood count, you want to look at CRP, an inflammatory marker, a global inflammatory marker. Inflammation, metabolic inflammation drives all metabolic disease in the body. So you really want to understand your inflammatory status. Lipid panel. So you want to be looking at things like, of course, total cholesterol, HDL, LDL, non-HDL cholesterol. You want to understand what total cholesterol is. Total cholesterol is a combination of three things. It's a combination of LDL, HDL, and 1/5 of your total triglyceride level. So again, the cholesterol, the blood cholesterol, the lipid panel includes total cholesterol, LDL, HDL, and triglycerides. You'll get a general sense of what's going on with your cholesterol. Now, out of those numbers, what you want to do, either you or the clinician who's caring for you, you want to create three ratios from those numbers. The three ratios are your total cholesterol divided by your HDL. You want that far below 5. You also want to look at your LDL HDL ratio equal to 3 or under, and your triglyceride HDL ratio, and that number you want equal to or less than 2. Triglyceride HDL ratio, that number is a very accurate gauge of your stroke risk. Another very critical marker is insulin. The 3 major blood sugar markers are hemoglobin A1C. Ideally, you want it as close to 5 as possible. Sub 5 is like Olympic level. So insulin, hemoglobin A1C, insulin you want at 5 or under to be optimized, certainly under 10. The medical cutoff is 24. So if you come in at 18 or 20 when you get it done and your medical doctor is reviewing it, typically, unless there's a red H on it, no conversation is going to be had. But for long-term metabolic blood sugar control, good, healthy metabolic control, you want it 5 or under. I just got my blood panel done. Last time I had it done, it was under 2. This time it was under 3, just under 3. That's where I like to keep my insulin level. Cortisol, it's a stress hormone. So if you have blood sugar regulation issues and your insulin goes high, by the way, before I get into that, I wanted to mention again the 3 blood sugar markers, the key ones you want to look at: insulin, hemoglobin A1C, and fasting blood glucose. FBG, you want it ideally between 70 and 80, certainly under 100. The fasting blood glucose tends to be much more volatile to changes minute to minute, hour to hour. So really the most accurate out of the 3 is insulin. Next is hemoglobin A1C, and then fasting blood glucose. And then so glucose in general, blood sugar in general, has a very, very dramatic impact on your hormones. So one of the things that we look at in particular, chronically elevated levels of blood sugar has a dramatic effect on your stress hormones. And 2 big ones are cortisol and pregnenolone. So those are always on our blood panel, our blood sugar panel. And another one that our blood sugar panel includes is DHEA. DHEA is another stress hormone, but also a parent hormone or a prohormone, which actually goes into being the precursor to testosterone and estrogen. Another big one is uric acid. Uric acid is reflective of the amount of, it's another basic inflammatory marker. Uric acid is a byproduct of too much sugar in the bloodstream. And then, of course, last but not least, your omega oils, your omega-3 index. Your omega-3 index is very important. That can show you the health of the membranes of the cells. It's reflective, particularly the red blood cells being measured. And that omega index will show you, it's kind of like the exact opposite of hemoglobin A1C. The lower the hemoglobin A1C, the better. The higher the omega-3 index, the better. So a really good omega-3 index would be 8 to 12%. And that's reflective of which percentage of the cell membrane is made out of the good fats, particularly the omega-3 fats. And that's important because the health of the cells, the health of your body, as so goes the omega-3 index, so goes the health of your cells and the health of your body. And also the ability of the cell to allow insulin to carry blood sugar out of the bloodstream into the cell to be metabolized and used for energy production. So the cell membrane must be healthy, and that's why we measure the omega-3 index. So this is a rock solid panel to understand not just your health status, but your blood sugar status, the threats, the risks that you may have. Again, I'll repeat it. Knowing the right numbers includes CMP, Comprehensive Metabolic Panel, the complete blood count, CBC, CRP, the C-reactive protein, a protein indicating how inflamed your body is, your lipid panel, which is really kind of part of your CMP, insulin, cortisol, pregnenolone, DHEA, hemoglobin A1C we mentioned, uric acid, glucose, and the omega-3 index. In our office, a panel like this, it's just pretty much what the lab charges us. It typically will be around the 300 range to get it done, but it has more than what's typically on a panel, but some key markers which are usually left off. But important to know your blood sugar status and how well your body's doing regulating blood sugar. If you're a non-diabetic, you want to understand these numbers. If you're a full-blown diabetic, you definitely want to understand these numbers. So that's wrapping up our blood sugar segment. All of the stuff that we went over at the master class, I took the last month to kind of drill down a bit more on these segments. And that's what I wanted to leave you with. And now we move into going into next month, we now move into the Detoxify or Die Masterclass content, Tuesday, 6:30 at our office. Detoxify or Die Masterclass. Been teaching the class for many, many years, decades. And it's a great time of year to have your head in the health game. And we're going to be breaking down a lot of information, a lot of important information, some of which we'll be talking about. What is toxification? What does it mean? What does detoxification even mean? Does anybody even really know what that means? What are the key sources of toxicity? Where do they come from? And just because our environment is saturated with toxins in the food, air, water that we eat, breathe, and drink doesn't mean that everybody's is equally toxic. Why are some people more toxic than others? Even in spite of the fact that you could have two people living in the same environment. What is the difference? We're going to be talking about the worst toxins, the worst of the worst. What are they? What are the key initial moves that you want to make in terms of detoxifying your environment? What are some of the first steps? What are the most important steps? What are the big rocks that you want to start moving out of the way, getting out of your environment? Okay, so most importantly, we're going to talk about how do you identify the toxicity level of your body? What are the issues that your body may be having? What's the test that I do on my body? The test that I just did, it's called the Total Toxic Burden Test. And it is the most comprehensive test on the market. And it looks at mold, heavy metal, and environmental toxic exposure. Environmentally, things like, outgassing of products around you, fertilizers, pesticides, stuff sprayed on our foods. Like, does your body have any significant accumulation of these toxins? And so how can you even begin to understand what to detox if you don't know what's going on in your body or what's even there? And that's why we're going to talk about testing. How do you test? How do you understand what your unique needs are in the way of toxicity? What does the spine have to do with toxicity? Isn't that strange to think? Yeah, as a chiropractor, I will be talking about the spine. And what does that have to do with your body's lack of ability to get rid of toxicity and why it may be accumulating toxicity? What does the spine have to do with that? And then ultimately, how do you prepare your body to get rid of the toxicity? What are things you can do daily, weekly, monthly? And then if you test, the test comes back and shows, here's what your unique issues are. What are the unique solutions that your body needs to get rid of the toxicity? Because it could be different for different people. So how do you get rid of it? What is your body, again, in particular, need? What does it need to get rid of the toxicity? How do you do it? What does that look like? And again, how do you design a specific program for you or a loved one and begin getting this stuff out? Toxicity is insidious. It's a silent killer. Many times it's hard to figure out because toxicity produces a lot of symptomatology, and the allopathic physicians, Western trained medical doctors, physicians are trained to take your symptoms, drug them, suppress them, and sweep them under the carpet, never getting to the real cause. But this is one stone that if you are going to be healthy and you are going to get healthy and stay healthy, you have to understand you and I, we have to understand the toxic load of our body because it could be interfering with our health and well-being and our vitality in a major way. So I beg of you to come join us Tuesday night, a golden opportunity to learn how to elevate your health, how to maybe move yourself away from health challenges, but more than that, more importantly, achieve a level of health and well-being and vitality that you may have never experienced before. Come join us right here in my office. We got a lot of space in the front. Detoxify or Die, 6:30 p.m., December 16th. Whether you are a patient of mine or not, you are invited. Come join us, sit here in the office, and you will not only see how powerful this knowledge is, but again, understand that you truly can take control of your health, your future health and well-being in a very powerful way when you have the right knowledge. So please come join us online, social media, all over the place. You'll see the place where you can register. And I'll also put another link into the comment section in the video where you can easily click on it and register. And we want you here. Come learn and grow with us. Dr. Dan Yachter signing off. We'll be with you later. God bless.